RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What's up? Is everything too loud? Hello, it's loud. I don't know. Always have audio problems on this fucking show. What's up, everybody? I'm sorry I haven't been able to do a show this week. It's been one of those weeks I overextended myself again, and that's because, I'm a freelancer, and I have to take jobs, and I can't say no, because I feel like the jobs are going to dry up if I say no, and then I have a lot of work, so I end up working all day and all night, and I have no time. So, all right, if you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And I swear to God, one of these days I'll open up the YouTube, subscriptions, to give people a different option if they want to support the show. I swear to God, I'll do it. I gotta do, there's so many things I have to do. And it feels like it piles up, and whatever. I can't get overwhelmed, right? Thank you, Jonathan, on the chat. It's not your fault. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's validation, but I do feel bad. And I also, because I have so many other things I need to do. Like, I know I need to make more short videos. It's really bothering me. And it's just the time. That's why, if anybody knows, if you can contact me, if you know of any AI tools that might help streamline the process, I'm sure that stuff is coming up. And if you know of any, let me know. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, GG? All right, because we got so much to talk about, and I love you guys, and I miss you guys, and yeah, I just don't know what to say. It sucks. And I see others, that are doing, like, they're going, like, boom, 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 making videos, and I'm like, what the fuck? I want to do it. I want to stay in the game here. So even if it's just a little tiny niche, it's our niche, right? Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah, it sounds good in my headphones, too. What the hell is going on? What's the difference? I didn't do anything different. Maybe, I don't know. Let's not, because people, oh, sorry. I didn't explain myself. The audio sounds good. Well, yeah, what else would sound good? Not the video. Okay, whatever. I'm getting ridiculous here. Let's get the show going. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you, Jim, for your super chat right out of the gate. We have a lot to talk about, but I was thinking before I started the show that, how many more? Well, I guess that's what I named the show. How many more will die for Republicon lies? How many more? I don't really want to know the answer to that, but you know why? Because let's start here, and I guess we can connect the dots. I don't know if you saw this. Well, everything that's going on, the wildfires in Hawaii, the news that suicide rates in the United States have reached an all-time high. I saw that today, and let me just play this. Well, and we've talked about this, how deaths of despair are on the rise in the United States. They're in record numbers. Why? Of course, I know why. You know why. We talk about it on the show. But it seems like it's a big mystery to everybody else. It's because of for putting aside the fact that we have to share the same country with a bunch of morons who are never satisfied. And we'll talk about that too, how Hunter Biden, how they appointed a special prosecutor, how Republicans have been calling for a special prosecutor in the Hunter Biden Yeah, because this is such a great, pivotal thing that's going on for America. We must know what happened when Hunter Biden was smoking crack. I mean, and also his business dealings. How dare the son of a powerful man what was he doing? Have influence because of his connections? Okay, if that's what you want to talk about. You see how ridiculous these people are? Don't look at the Trumps. Look at the Bidens, whose tax returns we know of. We've seen Joe Biden's tax returns, and he made like $500,000 last year, him and his wife. Because they reported. That's what they reported. Oh, I guess we're supposed to believe this is some great crime family. Well, I only see one so-called politician who received fewer votes taking a shit on a golden toilet. Okay, and I only see one. I don't see. They say this. He's such a bumbling fool, but this is a crime family. It's so goddamn tedious to be infuriating. I'm sick of it. And then, of course, they were upset that the special counsel was appointed. Does anybody else give a shit? If Hunter Biden committed crimes, let him pay the price for them. Who cares? Like the rest of us. If we commit a crime, we will pay the price. So, okay, we'll get to that. Okay. I got to get better at just doing a tease, but we'll talk more about it. But anyway, where the hell is this? Let's start here with this. And MSNBC, they gave the statistic about how suicides are going up through the roof here in the United States of serfs and lords. And I'll just play it.
First, we want to tell you about a tragic milestone. Suicides in the United States hit an all-time high last year. According to the CDC, 49,449 people took their own lives in 2022. That is up 2.6% since 2021. And let this sink in. The Associated Press notes, available data suggests suicides are more common in the U.S. than at any time since the dawn of World War II. For all of you watching, please know there is always help there for you or your loved ones.
Really?
If you feel alone, please know you are not.
Really?
Help is available 24/7 through the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can just call or text 988.
Oh, okay. But then
we'll be right back.
What's your insurance? What's your copay? Is this in-network? 988lifeline.org? Is that in-network or out-of-network? Does your insurance cover mental health care? Or would that be out-of-network? What's your deductible? Do you have, do you have co-insurance? Is that your main insurance or your co-insurance or your... Did you meet your deductible this year? Do you have... what about your prescription plan? Do you have prescription plan? Who's your carrier? Here's the thing. They talk about connecting the dots. This is what we hear all the time. Oh, we failed to connect the dots. Well, here we go again. Because it's the same symptom of, or the same action, whatever, that the corporate media takes, because when they're like, oh, we're so divided, and they don't look in the mirror. Well, why are we so divided? It's because they constantly divide us in the country. We are always divided. Now, when I'm listening to this news report about you are not alone, that's bullshit. And people know it. It's all just, it's platitude. You're not alone? You're definitely alone in this country. You're on your own, and that's the way they like it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you don't, you fall on hard times, tough shit. You know, they're still fighting for mental health parity in this country, meaning that they have to treat mental health illness or mental whatever. If you want to get help for your mental health, it's the same as if you were getting help for physical ailments. But because any reason not to pay for health care, the insurance companies are going to take it because they're not in the business of paying for health care. They are in the business of denying care. And it's absolutely unbelievably disgusting and ridiculous. And I'm sick of it. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm sick of everybody washing their hands. The power structure. Oh, we're so divided. But you notice it's like on us, right? As usual, it's not the system that's broken. It's you. You see, and I'm not. So some people crush. They break under the pressure, and you need help, but. What does it say about a country, or what's the message in a country where you don't have health care? Where a country that's like, oh well, right? When Republicans scream, "Let 'em die." When asked if what do you do? What do you do when if someone who is in a motorcycle accident, that was the analogy they gave, or the example. What do you do when someone in a motorcycle accident shows up at the emergency room with catastrophic illness or injury, and the Republicans in the audience shout, "Let 'em die"? This is, yes, exactly. Haiku on the chat. Thank you, Republicans. Thank you. This is the world we live in because of them. Every attempt every time we've tried to move forward, they've stood in the way, keeping us divided. And you know, it's really, the question has to be asked again, how much longer are we going to take it? How much longer? And I know eventually, one day, we will overcome this bullshit. But we all have to recognize, I mean, maybe it won't be in my lifetime, but maybe what? I know it's not going to last, because young people are not going to put up with this shit forever and ever, because they know the difference between the youth of today and the youth of my day was that we grew up in a smaller world. We didn't have access to friends all over the world where you could just get on your phone and talk to them and chat constantly or whatever. Just young people today know that we have a raw deal here in the United States. Because they have friends in other countries that can go to the doctor when they're sick and not have to worry about a bill, not have to worry if they can afford it. They go. But on top of that, it's the psychological effects of the fact that we have this system of, I got mine, sucks to be you. What's your insurance? Well, I don't have insurance. I remember having so many arguments during the Obamacare when that was happening, because I felt I was relieved that this was finally happening. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna finally have universal health care in this country. It's like one of my pet peeves, and it's not, and I tell you, it's not because here's the other thing that I get irritated by Republicans, besides everything else, is that they say things when I get contacted, because of this show. They'll say, "Oh, it's because you need this." I was telling you about the student loan, and I did a video about how student loan forgiveness helps all of us. And some bitch on the, left a fucking comment. She's like, "Oh, you mean it helps you, don't you? Fuck you." Okay, I'm pissed tonight. It's gonna say it's gonna be salty, and I was like, no. And I said, I paid off my loans. I had student loans, and I paid them off years ago. So, it's not about me. I see. What am I going to say? Oh, you have to have the same exact shitty experience I had? Or are you that selfish? Are you that goddamn stupid? Some people are. Of course they are. So, but to not see the bigger picture, how when you allow when it's not even allow, it is investing. Invest in the youth and in the future, and you get the rewards. Everybody reaps the benefit of a civilized society where young people aren't walking around as indentured servants to banks, and that they can establish themselves. They could get out of their parents' home or whatever, and they could buy homes instead of renting homes from fucking billionaires, because that's what's going on. They buy up the properties. That used to be the American dream. You would buy your home, raise a family or whatever, raise some cats in my case, and then you would be able to pass on that wealth to your especially, if you're white, I should say. That's a whole other conversation. But you pass on your wealth to your family, and that's how you create intergenerational, wealth. That's why white families have I think it's like $100,000 family wealth, as opposed to African American families, which are like $10,000. It's a wide gap, but that is a whole other conversation. But you know what I'm saying. But when young people can't get established because they're paying off their student loans, or they're not able to get a job that pays living wages, and then on top of it they have to pay medical bills, or just the basics of life, which it's just goddamn ridiculous, because you have to it's a raw deal, and you gotta wonder, how much longer are we going to take it? Because the other thing that all right, I am starting to, my thoughts are all tripping over themselves and trying to come out of my mouth at once. So, because what is the purpose of forming a government and a country, especially one that is supposed to promote the general welfare? And then you are nothing, yet again, except a host from which to suck profit and discard. Then, that's where you get this feeling of despair, and you're alone, and there's nothing you could do, and you can't dig yourself out of it. Especially when, and I remember when the Republicans, it was during the Bush administration, where they passed a law where you couldn't discharge your student loan debt in bankruptcy. That's a relatively new scam that the Republicans inflicted on the American people. So, I saw this video of perjury trader Green, who is, one of the worst people that probably ever squatted in the Capitol. Hold on a second. We'll be right back. We'll finish the thoughts. And so where is this fucking Oh, here it is. She's such a monster, this woman.
Seniors on a fixed income.
Oh, it's very low.
Between paying rent and being able to buy their medications.
That I recorded it off my phone.
People are drowning.
Oh, okay. Putting aside, this is the thing. She's an ignorant moron. I can't. Right? And I repeat myself on purpose because she deserves. She's like a double moron. She's moron plus. Drowning. Not only does she say important, she says drowning. How much more tedious can this woman get?
Seniors
I don't want to know the answer to that.
Are choosing
all right, so she's saying that. Okay,
seniors on a fixed income are choosing between paying rent and being able to buy their medications. People are drowning in inflation, and America's failing under Bidenomics. They have no policies to run on. The only thing they can run on is to continue smearing President Trump's.
People are drowning, and coming from a party that blocked the $35 insulin that was supposed to go for everybody, right? They block every attempt to throw people a lifeline. And why do people vote for them? I cannot understand it. I'm sick of it. I'm to the point, and we talk about it on the show, enough is enough. Anybody who votes for these filthy, traitorous morons should be ashamed of themselves. There's something wrong with them. And why do you hate yourself? Now, let's talk about that viral video of the woman who lives in Alabama, right? And she made a video, and she's 100% correct. She made a video of expressing the frustration. Come on, motherfucker. I'm talking to myself here. Drowning. Can you believe this? And can you believe somebody voted for somebody who says drowning? And important? Who votes for her? And they think she's a star. And they love her. I don't know. I can't handle it. I really can't handle it. What the hell is the goddamn... Drowning. We're drowning out here. Well, I won't play the whole thing because I can't find it. I had it. Oh, wait. Maybe it's in here. Maybe I'm drowning in videos here, so it's hard to say. Drowning. And important. What is wrong with... And then, of course, the same people who can't say Democratic Party. But that's all on purpose, though. The drowning, that's a choice. And she's not a child. You see, that's the kind of things I would do when I was a kid. I would say something. Because I have to tell you, there's all these pictures of me when I was a kid. I can't remember how old. When do you get your communion? Whenever that is, because I was raised Catholic, and there's all the photos are of me, and I'm smiling like this, right? I was trying out a new smile. I was like legit trying it out. I was like, I can't do it now because I'm looking at myself in the reflection. It was like, it looked better than that, but it was I was like, oh, maybe this smile's gonna work for me. And all the photos, when I see these photos, I laugh my ass off because in my child's brain, I was like, let me I think this new smile's really gonna make a splash. And 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 the same thing with words like drowning and important. Like, you would do things like that when you're a child. But you grow up, you grow out of it, especially if you're college educated and you learn how to pronounce things properly as an adult would, as a grown-ass senator or a representative in the friggin' Congress of the United States would. Important. It's not a regional accent. It's just she's screwing up the word. She sounds like a child, a baby. I was going to say so many words. That's why I came out as chick. She sounds like an idiot. So, and they have no shame. They're not embarrassed to have her. In fact, she's like a leader. And I can't forget the image of her on the House floor when the weaker speaker is trying to become the speaker because he wants his name above the door. He doesn't want the responsibilities. He's a weak-ass lickspittle. And she's out on the House floor with her phone. It says DJT. Hey, he wants to speak to you. Fucking, where the fuck do we live? In a place where everybody's killing themselves. That's where we live. All right, here's the lady. I'm not going to play her full rant, but you'll get the gist because she was on Fox and Friends, Fox and Freaks.
An Alabama mom going viral for her rant about her millennial Gen Z kids.
But not for the reason you might think. She says that she feels helpless as a parent as the American dream becomes increasingly difficult for younger generations to attain.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me, why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world is changed. Yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled, but there's a difference between struggling and drowning.
No kidding. And Jessica McCabe, who went viral, joins us live. Jessica, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I understand in the aftermath you've been slammed by a lot of Gen Xers who thought that the comments were inappropriate, but your son...
Inappropriate? What? Who thought it was inappropriate? Some people who I guess are still waiting for a trickle, or they're begging to be trickled on. Maybe they were born on third base thinking they hit a triple. They don't need to be trickled on. But you'll listen to these Fox and Freaks and look at Brian Kilmeade's face. He looks like he smells something foul. Is that the way he always looks?
Who read some of the comments actually feels like he's less alone. There are a lot of people in the same boat.
Yes, and I think that's one thing that we need to take away from is that it's not 1988 anymore. We have to, as parents, realize that the economy has changed. I understand inflation. Prices always go up, but I think that lately the wages are not keeping up with how big the inflation has gotten, and we have to listen to our children.
We're looking at these beautiful pictures. Gosh, you have gorgeous kids, and it looks like a grandchild there, too. What was your reaction to 11 million people can relate to this and viewed this?
That was a little unexpected because, honestly, the reason why I made the video is because I was so frustrated. I went out yet again with my son to go try to find an apartment he can afford. And we just kept getting backdrops or half the places I felt like should have been condemned that he could afford. And the other half, they were wanting 4 times your rent. They wanted you to show that you can make 4 times that. So I was getting frustrated. But I hear all the other Gen Zs and millennials in my comments saying that they finally feel seen, because I think us as Gen X, we forget that it's not the same as it is now for our kids. And we think, well, we did it, so they should be able to, too. And we need to be their advocate. I didn't have kids to watch them suffer their entire life.
Right. And real quick, are your kids going to change careers? What's your advice to them? What have
Did you hear that shit? I was waiting for it.
Learn from this, Jessica.
it is frustrating because he went to college, and I understand that most places want experience, even though you had a college degree. So the first job.
She's spinning it, I guess. Maybe she missed the underhanded snipe at her. Are your kids going to change careers? Now, I don't know what her kids' careers are. What does it matter? If they can't live in a civilized country that pays living wages. Now, I'm of the crazy radical opinion that if you're living in a functioning society with a functioning economy that works for more than just the 1%, that especially an economy where it has such a record low unemployment rate, that where the CEOs are earning 400 times the lowest paid worker, which is an abomination, but corporations are reaping record profits, and they have been for years, while crying poverty, of course, when they can't pay their workers. So I'm of the opinion that a functioning society would be able to pay living wages to anybody who wants a job. And that used to be the American dream. And I know this for a fact. I lived on the wrong... I grew up, I should say, on the wrong side of Reaganomics. I was young. Reagan was the first election I voted in. Of course, I voted against him. And so, I was at the tail end of the New Deal. So, but anyway, that's not even the point. But I could predict, as the Republicans were destroying unions and lowering the tax rate for the rich, and we all knew. I mean, I wasn't that politically aware as I got better as I grew up and learned more, but we all knew where it was leading, and here we are. When you funnel money into the arms of the rich and you destroy unions and you increase because this is what happened. They increased the gap between the rich and the poor. Did I vote for Angela Davis? I don't think so. Robin M. I voted for Walter Mondale, I believe. Wait, hold on. Whoever was against Reagan. Yeah, Reagan Mondale, right? I voted for the Democrat. That's when I was a registered independent. And I remember saying, oh, well, because I was young, and like many people now, when they say, oh, the independents, they vote for blah, blah, blah. The independents are low information voters. And not just speaking from experience, but knowing now, I know this from my own experience, but also from the studies and the facts that people who identify as independent, for the most part, are those who think they're above the fray. It's sort of like they're one step up from those who say that they don't pay attention to politics. A lot of the independents they just pay attention to politics right before an election, and they say things like I used to say, well, I'll vote for the person who I think is, who I think will be the best or whatever. And I just noticed as I continued to vote in every election that I was voting Democratic. So, and in New York, you have to, if you want to vote in the primaries, you have to be a member of the party. So, yeah. And I registered as a Democrat instead of an independent. But this is the truth, though. The American people are dumb. Lots of people are dumb. They can't, and some of it's not their fault. They can't pay attention because they're working 3 uniquely American low-paying jobs and, trying to pay their medical bills and shit like that. So, but anyway, in this this segment on Fox and Friends, it pissed me the F off, of course, because I was waiting for them. First of all, I was surprised that they were identifying with her and giving her some empathy. They're not really identifying, because these are we're looking into the ivory tower here. So, but the other thing, a couple of observations. One was, I wonder what their reaction would have been if this viral rant was from somebody who was black, or had darker pigment somehow. She's a blonde white woman who lives in Arkansas, right? And so she's in the acceptable demographics. But if she was from New York or any other blue state, had darker pigment, they would certainly be unpacking her viral rant, and I can't say that word for some reason, viral rant, in a much different way. That's for sure. So Brian Kilmeade, or Killjoy, which is easier for me to say, is his question. It's in itself speaks to the right-wing frame in general. Is your son going to find a different job?
Are your kids going to change careers? What's your advice to them? What have they learned from this, Jessica?
Are your kids going to change careers? I just told you, dummy. They have college degrees. They are trying to establish themselves in a career. And, so let's go back to school and get more debt? What are they going to do? Are they going to go be a friggin' barista? Maybe for the rest of their lives? No offense to baristas. What do you want them to do? Maybe they could pull themselves up by their bootstraps and marry a billionaire. Huh? Right? Or come up with some grift. Come up with some Trump Network vitamin scam, perhaps. Figure out some way to separate the other dum-dums from their money. Because what Brian Kilmeade is saying is that it's not the system, no matter what, no matter the statistics, no matter the facts. He, yet again, because he's stuck on stupid, he is sitting in the ivory tower, and the Republicans only see the light when something affects them directly. That is 100% the truth. They are the center of the universe. It is a very crowded place filled with Republicans. And so, he's doing fine. I don't know why. Why is somebody like Brian Kilmeade sitting in a job that pays him millions of dollars a year? It doesn't make any sense to me. What is the skill? What is the expertise he brings? Are there Brian Kilmeade fans out there? Does he bring an audience? Do people, I know he brings a lot of comedy material to late night television. I know he's said a lot of dumb things over his career that become viral clips. I don't see anyone really, him bringing value to a station that justifies a large salary. I'm just going to look this up, actually, how much he earns or whatever, how much he grifts sitting on that couch. I'm just looking it up here. How much does Brian Kilmeade make? Holy shit. According to multiple sources, Brian Kilmeade's net worth is an estimated between 5.5 million and 30 million. His annual salary is reported to be between 4 million and 10 million a year. Can you believe that? Why? Oh, well, I guess Brian Kilmeade, who is very inadequate, and this is what the Republican Party is filled with. Inadequate people who are probably, they fell ass backwards into whatever position of power they have, and they're like, shit, I ain't letting go of this. I'll have to, if I have to drag democracy into the flames, I'm not letting go of this cushy gig. I want to ask, let me, I'm looking at, I'm on the Perplexity AI. What is Brian Kilmeade's resume? Let's say. Let me see. He is a journalist, it says. Okay. Yes, but how did he get a job? I'll just say a job, period. Because he sucks. He was a correspondent on Channel 1 News, a national high school television program. He then worked as an anchor for KHSL TV in Chico, California. He worked in sports radio, and then he hosted an all-sports show. Jim Brown Show. Oh, the Jim Brown Show. In 1993. He provided commentary for the Ultimate Fighting Championship events. He's a sports guy. And then he joined Fox News in 1997. And he's been squatting on that, staining that white couch ever since. Yeah, hello. This is Tara Devlin, unapologetic liberal talk. Exactly, Jim on the chat. Journalist. Are you kidding me? Journalist? But, you know, it's so irritating. Yes, Haiku on the chat. Have you considered the magic of a career change? Exactly. As if that's the answer. Oh, he must have gotten a gender studies degree, because that's what they always go to when they're disparaging people, when they're blaming the victim in this kiss up, kick down, trickle down, Reaganomics bullshit that we live in, where people are killing themselves because they can't take it anymore. And it's sad. Well, if you're feeling alone, you're not alone. Prove it. You know, words are cheap. As we know, listening to the con man, he's got a lot of words. He says they're the best words, but they are the worst. And they suck. And the lies that the words are getting people killed. Literally killing people. They're killing people and they're getting people killed. And we're staying stuck. And no one is putting the dots together or just saying, hold up here, stop. How much longer are we going to take this shit? Clearly, the Brian Kilmeades of the world, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to change. They're not going to help us change. They're not on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. They're not on that. They're on for themselves. I mean, how can you sit on that couch as somebody who doesn't know anything and simply repeat the lies that come out of the Republican talking point list? Of course, that's all he does. And he makes 15 or what was it? 5 to I can't remember, 10 million a year doing it? Well, why can't you? Well, yeah. Maybe her son is considering a career change to become a Fox News, a Fox and Friends host. But as I was saying earlier, what my aunt would tell me that when she was young, now when the hell was she born? She's in her 70s. So she's 71. And, she grew up in the New Deal. She was a product. She grew up when you could just get a job. And that's what she said. She said, if you didn't like the job you had, you could say, okay, I'm quitting, and walk down the street and get another one. And you could live. You could buy a house. You could rent an apartment. You could have a car. You could go on vacation. You could earn a life. You could work a regular job and pay for your life. You didn't have to come up with a side gig and a side hustle to try to keep your head above water. And in the woman's viral rant, she's saying that they're going out and looking for apartments, but they need 4 months rent put down, and they can't even, they have to earn 4 times the rent that they are asking for, and they're not even coming close. So how do you rent an apartment? She's saying, and some of these apartments they look like they're on the condemned list. They're so dilapidated, and they're so under the standard that you would consider an American birthright. But this is where we live, where right-wingers, I swear to God, if I swear I wish that the right-wingers were sincere partners in a functioning society. The fact is they're not. And I swear to God, I'm sick of it. Well, you don't have to swear, but because we were talking about on the last show, how Nancy Pelosi's always like, oh, we need a strong Republican Party. No, we don't. We need this party gone. Because you know what would happen when the Republican Party is finally smashed legally and peacefully into history's trash pile? The Democratic Party would break into factions of more conservative and liberal factions, and we could have a functioning democracy. But because the common denominator would be that they all believe in a functioning government and a democracy and a society that works for all. Although some might feel that we can do it in a more conservative fashion, and others have a more liberal bent. But at least we would be sincere partners in making this government work, making a more perfect union work, where we wouldn't be reading these statistics like the American people are killing themselves at an alarming rate and throwing our hands up saying, gee, whoa, there's nothing we can do, because that's who the Republicans are. That's what they are. And I'm not just saying, this is not a pejorative. I'm not pointing fingers. It comes right out of their mouths. I direct you to the latest, one of the latest, is it the latest school massacre? Where the Republicans are like, well, there's nothing we can do. Nothing. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. There's zero we can. Well, why are they in government? Why? They're in government to feather their own nests, to have their cushy jobs. They're in government the same reason Brian Kilmeade sits on that couch, because he's like, I guess he thinks he might think he earned it. He probably thinks he deserves to be there. But would anybody miss him? That's it. You know, if he ever left the show, one day he called in sick. Maybe he had the flu. Would anybody be like, shit, this show sucks because Brian Kilmeade isn't here? What? I mean, really? Why? Why are you paying that guy $10 million? You know? Anybody know? So that's what I'm saying. They have this unrealistic view of life, and then it's like, you know, if you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps and marry a billionaire or an heiress or whatever, you know, somebody who you can live off of, then you know, it's your fault. Is your son considering a career change? Well, no, we're not considering a career change. We're just telling everybody that we're sick of it. We're sick of the system being rigged in the favor of the rich. How about that? And you're not, and you know, on Fox News and Republican propaganda outlets, that channel and the like exist to keep this rigged system from crumbling, to keep the dumbasses from recognizing who the real enemies are. And they're doing a good job because the American people are at each other's throats. Now, okay, I kind of want to say that with a caveat, with a clarification. The American people are not at each other's throats. The right-wingers are at the throats of the American people. So we're not at their throats. You see what I'm saying? I'm not at the throats of right-wingers. I want them to get the help they need. I want them to have health care. I want them to have living wages. I want them to have a media that isn't pouring lies into their empty heads all day. So in order to protect a system that makes the rich richer and the working class the more malleable working poor. So I'm not at their throats. I'm trying to help them, really. I'm not trying to drink their tears or make them mock them. They're disgusting. Of course they are. But I'm not I'm just trying to give them, access to the American dream that the people they vote for destroyed. That the people they continue to vote for, destroy. So, and that's one of the things on that viral rant. I said, I posted something under it, like, stop voting Republican. I didn't go back to see if there were any comments on it, but that's the truth. I'm not trying to hurt them. I'm not at their throats. I'm trying to give them the same middle-class life that my grandparents thought was the American birthright, even though, they were immigrants. That's why they came here. And I kid around all the time how I wish my grandmother never got on that boat. But she got on the boat when FDR was in office. So why wouldn't you? Things were looking up. Not too many getting on the boat now. Oh, well, during Trump, I should say. But it's gotten worse since the Republican policies. I mean, low taxes on the rich, no health care, no universal health care. I mean, you can have health care. Yeah, I just had to go to the doctor because I had some, whatever. I won't get into it. I was, well, now that I said it, what was wrong with me? My feet were swelling. It was a reaction to medication. That's what they came. Because I'm on high blood pressure medication. You guys know that. I have high blood pressure. And my feet were swelling up, and I thought, okay, great, I'm dying. And I had to take all these tests. It ends up, it's the friggin' medication. So they had to put me on something else. And my feet are better, so okay, good. Anyway, so I had to get scans. Here come the bills, though. Just got a friggin' bill today for $500. Oh, let me pull that out of my orifice. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'd rather do something with that money. In other countries, you just pay your taxes and you go to the doctor if you have a problem, right? So you don't worry about it. And I was telling you about a friend of mine from Ireland, and he was sick, and he said it was the first time in his life he had to think, could I afford this? Should I go to the doctor? He was thinking about it. Is this worth going to the doctor? Do I want to pay this money? And he said it was the first time in his life that he ever thought of that. And he was telling me examples. He said that he had some pain in his jaw. He was in Ireland, and you just go. Yeah, what's this, doc? What's this pain? That's why the American people, the life expectancy is appalling as far as the rest of the Western world. And the life expectancy is falling. It's because of death by despair. It's suicide, overdoses, and things like that, and gun violence, of course. And but it's because people wait till they can't stand it and they can't wait anymore. And that's why there are over 35,000 Americans needlessly die every year for lack of health care because they wait and then there are others who can't afford care and they die of things that are easily treatable. And that's a goddamn disgrace, really. That's an absolute disgrace. It has gotten worse for millennials in this and Gen Z. The economic growth in the country, as far as the gap between rich and poor, has gotten wider since Reaganomics. And then that stat that I constantly cite is something that we should all be appalled by. The stat being the United States used to be the most upwardly mobile. Now we're the least. We used to have the slightest income gap. Now we have the widest income gap between rich and poor. And you can't have a functioning democracy with this kind of income inequality and upward immobility. And there goes Brian Kilmeade. Are you going to consider a career change? You see? That's the problem. They will not accurately diagnose the problem and come up with a solution. They're not looking for solutions. They're looking for distractions. That's what they're there for. Will you find another job? Find another job? No. Will you finally start advocating for an economy that works for all? That works for more than just the 1%? Are you kidding me? And what was I just looking at? Hold on. Like that loser, Elon Musk. I just saw this thing. Elon Musk. And what's the other guy from Facebook? Zuckerberg. Elon Musk just said these people are so tedious. From The Guardian. This is 2 hours ago. Musk says proposed Zuckerberg cage fight to be held at epic location in Italy. If that's not the a prime example of how useless billionaires are, how we don't need billionaires. I don't know what is. Elon Musk is in talks with Italy's government about hosting his proposed cage fight with Mark Zuckerberg. These people. Enough. They have to be stopped. They're so disgusting. It's an embarrassment to humanity. And the fact that there are billionaires is nothing but a indication of a broken system. Period. There should be no billionaires. That's it. A cage fight at a historic site, but the Colosseum has been ruled out. How dare you people? Honestly, somebody do something about this. Get them. Why don't you go to space already and stay there? Jesus Christ. The owner of X-Corp. And everything, it's like Trump. You see, Elon Musk, we know, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but we've done it on the show before. He's a scam artist, just like Trump. He made money. I think he's not a genius. And I'm tired of people on the corporate media calling him a genius. He's like Trump, who is not a successful billionaire or businessman, but he was able to market himself that way. Same thing with Elon Musk. He's not the co-founder of Tesla. He had nothing to do with Tesla, the founding of Tesla. He came in to Tesla when it was already founded and established, and then he fought legally in the courts to have his name put on the paperwork. That's why he can only call himself a co-founder. And then he tried to get the other people who actually did found Tesla. He tried to get them off the paperwork. It's all a scam. Like, what else is new? So it says the Italian culture minister Gennaro Sangliano said he was discussing holding the bout in full respect of the sites where it might be staged. I had a long and friendly phone conversation with Elon Musk. This is what he's thinking of. This is what the genius is discussing. Right? Not, if you're a genius, you understand, if you're a genius, you don't behave like this. If you're a genius, you're not a right-winger. First of all, and third of all, and second of all. If you're a genius, you got things to do. You got more important things to worry about. That is how we know somebody like Trump is not a very smart man. He is a dullard on all levels. He is a disgusting waste of human DNA, waste of a brain, waste of a semblance of a brain. And, for example, I can't even, I know I'm going to make everybody sick now with this. You probably saw this. This made me sick.
Who's good? No, Christie's, he's eating right now. He can't be bothered. Sir, please do not call him a fat pig. That's very disrespectful. Don't call him. See, I'm trying to be nice. Don't call him a fat pig. You can't do it. You can't do that. So now, because you're not allowed to do that, and therefore we're not going to do it, okay? We want to be very civil, right?
Wow. Okay. Trump is a disgusting waste of human DNA. That's a given. What's more shocking about this video is how a crowd responds to him. Why are they applauding him? Why are they laughing? Now, I'm sure if we turned the camera around, we wouldn't have a room full of Adonises out there. And look at Trump. He's obese. He's filthy, disgustingly orange. He's sweating like somebody who's not that well. He looks like Elvis in 72, frankly, the way he's sweating up there. And I was half expecting him to start wiping his head, wiping his brow, and throwing the sweaty towels into the crowd. That's how they behave. But, Elvis had some talent. Trump is just as a horrible child. He's like the worst man-child. Now, remember, we don't even really have to go into it, but it's so telling how useless this Republican Party is. Because I remember Clinton, the Clinton era, and all the Republicans whining and crying about the children. What about the children? What are we going to tell the children about their president? And because rules for thee, not for me. What are we going to tell the children? Now, what do you do when your child calls another child a fat pig? Or what do you do when you're in the student elections in the local elementary school? You're trying to teach the poor suckers about civics, and you get some kid up there and he's like, I'm here to make PS8 great again, and my opponent is a fat pig. What do you do? Right. Such scintillating political commentary you got there, Republicans. You see? Because they got nothing. They have nothing to offer. And, again, I have to correct myself. They have worse than nothing to offer. Because if only they simply had nothing to offer, that would be an improvement. But the fact is they have worse than nothing. They subtract from society. They take from the country, from humanity. They stand in the way of everything. So if they added nothing, if they had nothing, it would be an improvement, really. Because the way it stands, they kill people. They are responsible for killing more people than I could even imagine. Trump, he's worse than Pol Pot. The million Americans he left in his wake, and counting. You see, because think about it. When we knew that people were going to die by the time that Trump left the office, that he squatted in despite receiving fewer votes. We knew people were going to die. But did we ever imagine it could be over 1 million? Because the lies. How many lies is it going to take? What am I saying? Not a lies. What's it going to take to I don't know. What's the question here, really? The question always is, how much longer are we going to take it? But I was gonna ask, what's it going to take to wake these people up? But they're a lost cause. The Trumpanzee is a lost cause. And the only thing we can do is wake up those. I just hope that those who are somewhat not stupid, that they will wake up before they're next. Because really, I'm trying to find that clip of, where the hell is it, of the Trumpanzee. You might have seen it at one of his latest Nuremberg rallies. Come on. I need a better system here. Well, in the meantime, while I look for this, look at this.
By the way, I want to say officially for the press, it's about 110 degrees in this room. Nice job with the air conditioning, whoever. But you know what the press will say? You know what they'll say? Trump didn't look well.
You don't look well.
Extremely wet. It's 104 or 5 degrees in this room. But we're okay with it, right?
That's what matters, right? What everybody says about you. I mean, God in heaven. Take off your coat. He wouldn't do it because he's not that fit. Well, here's the clip of what I was talking about.
That's Nazi Germany Hitler. You can't silence your political opponents because you don't agree with them. Joe Biden should be in prison for his bribes.
The vote was stolen. I believe it. In my heart. Remember, they blew up one of the election quarters where they kept all of the Dominion machines. Why'd that blow up?
If Donald Trump were to be found guilty by a jury, where do you see this going?
Civil war. Civil war. Divide it up, because we can't live together, obviously.
And if he wants me to protect them, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to let him know that I'll do it.
I'll do it. Now, these people are a lost cause. And I'd love to know how many public assistance, Social Security, Medicare, any kind of government program those people are on or have taken advantage of. And one of the other things I just want to point out that got on my nerves when I saw this clip on the corporate media. Let me play it again, and then I'll point it out.
There's bribes.
The vote was stolen.
Okay, first of all, that. Why are they allowing their lies to amplify without fact-checking them? And they just put this microphone in front of these morons' face, and this is the problem. They have to be respectful to them. Do these people earn respect? They're clowns.
Joe Biden should be in prison for his bribes.
The vote was stolen. I believe it.
You believe it? The vote was stolen? I believe it. Well, nothing is going to convince you otherwise. You're a lost cause. The vote wasn't stolen. Good night. Good night, Moon. Next. Why are you standing there and looking the guy in the eyes? Yes, we know these people are a lost cause. Why are you giving him airtime and amplifying his stupidity? The vote was stolen. I believe it. The only responsible thing to do for a journalist in this position right now is to take the microphone and say, no, the vote wasn't stolen. Right? No, but they just let it out there. And nobody commented on it. Hold on. We'll be right back. This is Tara Devlin. Let's keep going here.
In my heart. Remember, they blew up one of the election quarters where they kept all of the Dominion machines.
Remember that? No, because that didn't happen. Now, that's what really got on my nerves, too, because all of that, the stolen election, the bribes, Joe Biden's bribes, this is what's insane. What fucking bribes? You mean the $2 billion that Jared Kushner got? The one who was tasked with everything in the government? From figuring out Middle East world peace and solving the opioid crisis that he never solved? What? Joe Biden's bribes for what? That's the other thing. Bribes for what? This is the one thing I cannot figure out. I've been trying to figure it out. I've been looking it up because I knew I had to talk about it. What is the connection? So Hunter Biden is a son of a prominent politician, and he gave the illusion of access to his political dad. Oh, okay. Whoopee fucking doopy. Does that happen every other day? Yes, of course it does. Oh, that's how the world works. They say, yeah, now all of a sudden Republicans are upset about it. The Republicans who are in, half of them are in their cushy jobs because of their cushy connections. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, we'll get into that. I keep saying that and I get distracted. But the other thing is why this MSNBC guy, he doesn't correct the idiot. What is he talking about? Remember that thing that blew up? What blew up? I had to look that up too. This is another conspiracy theory, another QAnon conspiracy where remember on the Christmas day? That's what it was. I had to look it up. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? And I'm sure so many other people who were watching were like, what the F is he talking about? But this is the problem. You can't let the nuttery lie in the middle of the floor unchallenged because it just stinks up the air. So anyone passing a MSNBC television or television with MSNBC on at that moment and hears that will think, whoa, they blew up a thing with Dominion voting machines in it, which is not what happened. Remember when they blew up Dominion? What? Was that a coincidence? Well, if you're someone who has fallen down a Q hole, no, because that's all they think about are conspiracies up the wazoo. We can't get through a day without these freaks coming on with conspiracies. And now I know you're not going to be surprised. They're already coming up with conspiracies about the fires in Hawaii. QAnon says that the fires are caused by a direct energy weapon. No, it's not climate change. It's not the fact it's another example of how Republican lies are killing us. It's a direct energy wave. Do you see how we can never, ever get anywhere when these freaks are hanging around our necks like the national albatross? Because that should be our national bird now, our symbol. It should be, forget the eagle. It should be the albatross. Because we can't get anywhere. People are killing themselves. 1 million dead. Right? COVID's on the rise again. Death by despair. Kids, young people can't get established while those who's sitting in the ivory tower are telling them to get another career. You know, and the other thing is when you say things like that, you just kind of reveal your stupidity, Brian Kilmeade. To say, and your ignorance of the fact that if you actually loved your country, you would argue and advocate for a society where everyone earns a living wage, where everyone can rent an apartment, keep a roof over their head, buy a home, buy a car, whatever, go on a friggin' vacation, that you wouldn't advocate for a society that funnels more money into the hands of the rich while leaving everybody behind. And you would advocate for a society where you can go get a gender studies degree. Because that's how successful we are here. We're not out in the fields trying to meet our basic needs, our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've overcome that. That's why so many people fought, bled, and died. Our ancestors, they sacrificed so we could sit around sometimes and discuss gender, discuss what the meaning of life is. Isn't that the point of being alive? And that's the thing about Republicans. They want to strip us of all the things that make humanity beautiful. And I was thinking about this the other day too, because I was, you guys know I do animal rescue and whatnot, and I was thinking about some poor cats that were out there because it was raining, and I was like, oh, I got it, because I had to, whatever. The story is, a friend of mine wasn't able to go and take care of these particular cats, and she asked me to go, and it was really raining hard, and I was like, well, I still got to go because they still have to eat. And my cat Ray was sitting in the window, and I had just fed my cats, and he was just sitting in the window, happy as a clam. And I thought, yeah, he's not thinking about those other cats out there that are hungry and struggling, and I thought, well, that's what makes human beings so special too. And so something to be embraced. It's like the Dharma in Buddhism. It's in the Buddhist, in the sutras, it says the Dharma is rarely encountered, even in millions of ages. And meaning that we could be born as another kind of creature that doesn't comprehend, right? And that's how Mother Nature made us. So we would think about others. We would think about the other creatures who are out there suffering and weren't, because I don't see Ray getting his fellow cats together to go help or open a food kitchen for the community cats. You know what I mean? But that's what human beings do, because that's how we were made, to care about others, to care about other species, to care about our fellow human beings that don't have what we have. And we want to help because we feel their pain. We feel them. We could put ourselves in their shoes. And that's a good thing. It's not something to be denigrated or disparaged like right-wingers do all the time. As if, they say that liberals speak, they're too emotional. They are governed with their hearts. What is wrong with that? That's the way we're made. Other creatures don't even have the part of the brain that makes them connect to their fellow creatures, like snakes. They don't have that part of the brain that releases the oxytocin, that is the bonding chemical. We have it. Other, even creatures that have that, like cats and dogs, they don't, organize into rescue parties and whatnot. But we do, because that's what it means to be human. And that's a good thing. And that's why I know we will win. Because we're on the right side of humanity. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy. We stick together, we win. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Keep the real liberal media going and growing. We will win. Thank you, Charlie. My name is Tara Devlin. Check out APS Radio News. I'll see you soon. Oh, I heard people talking about Booty. Or, oh no, Bootsy. Booty. Where's Booty? Booty Boo. Oh, look at Booty. She's down over there. Let me see. Is this camera on? All right. Well, that was the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show. And I wish I had set this camera up. Come on. Let's see. All right, that's better. Because I'll show you what I can see over here. Oh, look at Booty Boo. She's sleeping in the wires. Booty. That any people who are listening audio only, they're like, what is this fucking show? Boudica. Booty, hello? Wake up, little booty, wake up. Wake up, little booty. All right. It's hard to see her. Come on, booty. Look at her. She's so cute. All right. I'll stop. All right, back to what was the other thing I was going to talk about? Let me see. Wake up, little booty. Wake up. Boom, 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 boom. All right, I'll stop that. Let me see. Oh, yes. Oh, man. Clarence Thomas. Oh my God! And this is the other thing. So talking about Hunter Biden, this the hypocrisy is not too, it's astonishing, but it's not unexpected. How they're suddenly so upset. And the thing is, everything is they're just so transparent. That's why I don't understand how anybody at all, even the morons we just saw, how they fall for it all the time, how they stay in the outrage loop all the time. And it's incredible that the Republicans, they have no shame. Because they can, from one day to the next, hold completely diametrically opposed or completely opposite views and maintain the same level of outrage. Now, we know. So here's the thing. I couldn't understand. Now I want to understand, as you know. And I was like, what is the deal with their Hunter Biden? Now I know that it's because it's the whataboutism. Trump is a criminal. It is the Trump crime family. So what do? Biden crime family. Right? It's like swift boat veterans for truth. You get a draft dodger against someone who's a decorated war hero. You go after their strength and turn it into a weakness. Now, Biden, he has released his tax returns for every year he's had to, right? And last year, his tax returns, like I said earlier, he made around $500,000, him and his wife, and they, she's a professor in a university. He's the president. They live in a modest house. I'm sure it's a very nice house. They're not living in a Maramoron, right? And I don't see what the bribes. So that's the thing. I was going through the articles and trying to figure out, like, okay, so if here's the difference. If there is bribery going on, I want to know about it. We're not going to be like, yay, Joe Biden can go bribe the day away. We would. If that were true, we would say, okay, time for a different candidate or something like that. There is no doubt. But the fact is, what is the bribe? When you bribe somebody, there's something you want in return. So what is it they're getting in return? And the fact is, they have nothing. Because I've been looking. where's the bribes? What are you getting? And then they're saying bribes for access. Okay, access to what? To policy. Okay, so what policy? And they have nothing. It's all up in the air. Now they've been investigating Hunter Biden for 5 years. You realize this. Where's the beef? Besides the one that perjury Trader Green showed in the House committee hearing, when she showed a picture of this revenge porn. Where? There's nothing. And it's nothing but the show, the faux rage, the constant outrage machine. And we see it in full effect because just yesterday or the day before, Lindsey Graham he was on Fox calling for Weiss to be a special counsel.
They claimed that Mr. Weiss, the U.S. attorney from Delaware, sought special counsel status and was denied that status, and that he wanted to bring charges in D.C. and California, but he was told no. So what did I do? I wrote Mr. Weiss and said, what's the deal here? Did you ask for special counsel status? He told me in the letter he had a discussion about it, but he was sure he could get it if he needed it, and he never really answered the question. The second thing that he said in the letter back to me was he never went to D.C. or California for more serious charges. He was never rebuffed by those jurisdictions. But here they claimed that Mr. Weiss, the U.S. attorney from...
So, anyway, I hit the wrong button and started to repeat. And so that's what they're saying. So Lindsey Graham was upset that Weiss was being denied special counsel status. And Weiss apparently assured him, if I ask for it, I'm sure I can get it. So guess what? He asked for it. And now people are saying, why? Why would Merrick the Meek appoint a special counsel? And from what I'm seeing and researching, trying to figure this shit out, one of the reasons is that he's doing it to appease these right-wingers, and this is part of the problem, where and that is actually a legitimate reason that one may appoint a special prosecutor if there are political implications or you're trying to dissuade the feeling of political influence. Then you appoint a special prosecutor. But according to Republicans, now that they have what they want, they don't like Weiss. They're upset. Now it's a big conspiracy. Now it's the Biden crime family. Now it's happening again. They're thwarting us because they're trying to stop our phony baloney sham hearings into Hunter Biden and our Fox News, appearances and whatnot. And here's the thing. Now, we know that every president, when the president takes office, the former president's U.S. attorneys resign. That's what happens. Except when Joe Biden took office, he deliberately kept Weiss in his job because he was investigating Hunter Biden. He was in the middle of investigating Hunter Biden, and he didn't want to give the appearance of impropriety or political, brinksmanship or whatever. And you have to ask yourself if the shoe were on the other foot, if it were the con man, would he keep a U.S. attorney that was investigating his son? Would he keep that U.S. attorney? Highly doubtful. In fact, the chances of him doing that are 0%. So it doesn't matter what you do. And that's why Merrick the Meek is so annoying to me on top of on top of everything else, he's not the man for the job. He should have. Joe Biden should fire him, frankly, and get a real attorney general, because he is so bending over backwards to appease these fascists. It is freaking despicable. And so, according to these filthy fascists, and this is what I was looking up, the let's see, where is it? Let me see. Yeah, where is it? Come on. I need a better way. Oh, yes. Because I was asking the AI, to do some research for me. So, like, what is this Devon Archer? What is the big hairy deal over here? Besides what perjury Trader Green showed on the House floor or in the committee. And there's nothing. There is really nothing. It's a nothing burger. And let's see. And saying that Hunter Biden was giving the appearance that there would be access, but there was no access. That the other thing that I found telling with the Republicans is that they're so shocked that a son and a father talk. And the thing is, one of the things that this Devon Archer person testified to in the committee was that it was during the time that Hunter Biden, that Beau Biden passed away, and so father and son were in frequent conversation and frequently talking and checking in with each other because it was a very difficult time. And this is how disgusting the Republicans are, and they try to make that seem like, of course, they're doing some underhanded dealing. Now, no one, I guess, you see, here's the thing. It's because the Republicans, it's another projection, since they are in office to do nothing but underhanded, dirty dealing, and they use their positions to feather their own nests and line their own pockets. Then everybody else, that's what must be happening, because why else would you call your son? Why else would a son call their father? Do you think that... What do you think would happen? Now, this is just speculating. If one of the Trump children, God forbid, because you got to say that, legally and peacefully wasn't, let's say, in the picture somehow, you think Trump would shed a tear? You think that father and whoever, other siblings or other of his spawns would check in with him? How you doing? Would he check in with them? What do you think? Now, because that's the thing. If Donald Trump, if we all know, we all see Donald Trump Jr., we see his eyes, his red bloodshot eyes. We see his behavior, his erratic, coked up looking behavior. And if he ever had the courage to admit that he needed help for an addiction issue, what would happen? What would the con man do? What would the chief parasite do? Would he say, I'm proud of my son, I love my son, I support my son? Or would he turn his back? Well, we know the answers to those questions, because as someone who is a malignant narcissist doesn't see people as people and human beings in their own right. They only see them in relation to how they make the malignant narcissist look. That's why Trump had to upgrade his wives, So, because you can't be seen with a woman who's 78 years old like he is. He's got to be seen with a trophy wife, because it's all about appearances. And all of the sudden, Republicans are worried about corruption and the appearance of impropriety. And I'm all for that. I'm about, fairness and equity. Are you kidding me? If you, is that what you want to do? You want to reform how, people get their jobs in Washington, D.C. or get to sit on boards of directors? Okay, fine. I'm with you. But, now, but their high-powered lens only seems to point at somebody who has a D after their name. And case in point, oh, shit. I just hit the wrong button and it scared the shit out of me. And that was, what's his name? Alex Jones. That scared me. Case in point, Uncle Clarence Thomas, who is as corrupt as the day is long and needs to get out of the Supreme Court. He is a disgrace to the Supreme Court. Like Trump is a disgrace to the presidency, and Lindsey Graham is a disgrace to the Senate. They're all a disgrace. And George Santos is a disgrace to the House, and Perjury Trader Green, and Lauren Band from the Bowling Alley Bulbert. They're all a disgrace. But he will not resign because he is a disgrace. And I was reading this article about, there's another guy, where is it, that the people in Wyoming want him to resign because he is a traitor. The mayor, where the hell is it? The mayor of Wyoming. They want him to resign, but he will not resign. He's one of these fake electors, and he will not resign. Here it is.
We begin tonight with community reaction on election fraud charges against the mayor of Wyoming. Many addressed the city council tonight at its first meeting since the mayor was charged. 13 on your side's Josh Albertus was there, and Josh joins us now with what happened.
Wrong.
We begin tonight with community reaction on election fraud charges against the mayor of Wyoming. Many addressed the city council tonight at its first meeting since the mayor was charged. 13 on your side's Josh Albertus was there, and Josh joins us now with what happened.
Well, this meeting lasted over 2 hours. Of that, there was over an hour of public comment on items not included in the council's agenda. Almost all of that comment related to the charges that have been brought against the mayor, Kent Vanderwood. Vanderwood is one of 16 charged by the state attorney general for allegedly operating as fake, or as some at tonight's meeting referred to them as alternate electors, allegedly seeking to give the state's electoral votes in 2020 to Donald Trump over the winner, Joe Biden. At tonight's meeting,
all right, whatever. Residents are calling for him to resign. Of course, there are a few Trumpanzees that are like, no. But the fact is, they don't resign anymore. And there was a time where some Republicans would have a level of integrity and they would resign if something like this happened. But now they don't leave. It is like George Santos. It is like Trump. It is like everyone. This is the Republican way. This is like, this is their strategy. When they lose elections, it was stolen from them. When they're caught in the act of being their criminal selves, they will not leave. They're like... They're like a disease in the body politic that you can't get rid of, and this is the problem with the Republicans, because they cannot function in a democracy. You don't get to be mayor for life. You're mayor at the trust of the people. If you're a traitor and you're, and he's, because what he's saying is that his being a traitor is not getting in the way of his job. Are you kidding me? It doesn't matter. Of course it's getting in the way of your job. It sullies, it stains the office you were entrusted with. And you should have some more respect for anyone, for all those who fought, bled, and died for this country, to get your vile carcass out of the office, your unfit, vile carcass, because you're staining the seat you're sitting in. You're stenching up the room. You're negatively affecting the view that people have of their government. And that's Clarence Thomas, too. He will not resign because he is above the law. He is the law. Now let's imagine, if this were anybody who was a normal person, right? If this were Sonia Sotomayor or Ketanji Brown Jackson, of course it would never. What would the Republicans say? Clarence Thomas is a kept man. He is kept as a pet by billionaires. He has no integrity. He has no business being on the Supreme Court. He never did. And the fact is, it's a disgrace that I've always been quite burned that it was Joe Biden that helped put Clarence Thomas on the bench, because he was the chair of the Judiciary Committee at the time, and apparently there were more witnesses that he never called that would have corroborated Anita Hill's testimony and had testimony of their own, and he rammed this unfit grifter through. And it always pissed me off that we kind of put that down in the memory hole too, that Joe Biden was responsible for allowing that freak on the court. Now he could rectify his mistake. There's something he could do to, something. There's a level of karma in the fact that Joe Biden is the president now. He could do something about it. And I wish that people would bring it up more often. Because Joe Biden's like, oh, well, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to expand the court because then we keep expanding and then they expand. And we shouldn't operate under the, we shouldn't operate like that, thinking that, well, what they're going to do. Why? Well, yeah, you can count on it. They're going to do it. And if the shoe was on the other foot, they would expand the court. You see? They would do something to rectify and nullify this illegitimate court. And it is illegitimate on so many levels, especially with Clarence Thomas, with Uncle Clarence Thomas, who really is disgusting, okay? He hates his job. That's the other thing that pissed me off. I'm sure you might have seen this clip that's been playing a lot today.
The job is not worth doing for what they pay. It's not worth doing for the grief, but it is worth doing for the principle.
It's not worth doing for what they pay. The Supreme Court salary is about $300,000. I think it's like $280,000, something like that. That's a decent salary, but not if you want to be a kept man by billionaires. Not if you want to hang out in the Bilderberg group. Not if you want to fly around on private jets and take vacations worth $500,000. It's really out of control. it's absolutely outrageous. I have friends, you have friends, we have friends. None of my friends bought my mother's house and let her live there rent-free. None of my friends, I don't know, I don't have kids, but none of them paid for my nieces and nephews to go to college. That's some friends you got there. I have friends. None of them pay for me on to take a trip worth $500,000. What kind of trip is that? I mean, that's a trip, man. And this grifter. You gotta love these Republicans. And this is why I always say we will win, because they always have to pretend that they're what they're not. You know, that they're more compassionate, you know, like the whole compassionate conservatism bullshit. It was bullshit when it came out of George Bush Jr.'s mouth. And it's still bullshit today, because they don't give a shit. They don't do shit for anybody. They block anything that has anything to do with compassion. I didn't hear any compassion for that woman's son who couldn't get established. All I heard was, is he going to change his job? Is he going to get another career? Well, how many careers you got to find before you can earn a living wage in this country? I remember Clarence.
You know, I don't have any problem with going to Europe, but I prefer the United States.
Sure.
And I prefer seeing the regular parts of the United States. I prefer going across the rural areas. I prefer the RV parks. I prefer the Walmart parking lots to the beaches and things like that.
Oh, you son of a
There's
bitch.
something normal to me about it. I come from regular stock.
You do, Clarence.
And I prefer that. I prefer being around that.
You do, Clarence. You prefer it, but that's something I never see. You in the friggin' Walmart parking lot. That's so funny. I don't see you at BJ's or Costco. I come from regular stock. You do? I'm sure you do, but you left that stock behind. He's bitter. He's a small, tiny man. A liar. A unfit grifter who has no business being on the Supreme Court, lording over the rest of us. He really is a damaged person, and that's one thing we gotta say for all these right-wingers. They are incredibly damaged people. All of them. That's why the cult is attracted to the con man. They're looking for a purpose. What do they get out of it? They get a sense of community. They get a sense of being above, of knowing the real story, of seeing the Matrix. Suddenly, they're not simply the cogs in the machine. They could see what's wrong with the rest of us. They have something to live for now. Even if it is a malignant narcissist, tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator, con man with a fake university, a vitamin scam, sexual predator who received fewer votes twice. And, of course, Clarence Thomas is not going to resign, Uncle Clarence, because he's, he has no integrity either. Look at his wife. She's a traitor. They're both very damaged people. She's somebody who was involved with a cult and supposedly got out of the cult to go around and tell people, watch out for cults, until she's now in another cult. The cult of the con man. He doesn't recuse himself in cases that have to do with his goddamn wife releasing her traitorous texts. And the other thing that's outrageous is how he said that he he consulted somebody, because he's not in these ProPublica articles. Uncle Clarence he's not disclosing these trips and all of the, the cushy gifts that he's getting from all of his keepers. And he said that he consulted, I don't know who he consulted, but he consulted somebody, and they told him, that he didn't have to. Yeah. Because he's Clarence. And Trump is Trump. And they're all in a world of their own. It's their world. We live in it. We're here. See, they hate this country. We're here to serve them. They're here to take as much as they can. A bunch of takers who add nothing to this world. In fact, Clarence Thomas has made the world worse, has made the country worse. He will go down in history as the ignoble grifter that he is. He's got no integrity. And, the RV, the other thing, the RV that he's driving around in these clips, was another gift of the billionaires who own him. A guy who I was watching this here. Where the hell is it? The 60 Minutes. He was on 60 Minutes in like 2007. And where is it? Here we go.
Most Americans know very.
Yeah, I'll try to find. We can't watch the
Life
whole
was
thing.
consumed by endless chores and
endless chores.
I hope the SOB dies.
And that's about the priesthood. He'd read the books of James Baldwin.
The SOB dies. That's taken out of
SOB
context.
dies. And that was it. That was the end of the seminary. That was the end of the vocation. That was the end.
Oh, whatever. You hope somebody died?
He'd read the books of James Baldwin, Ralph Ellison, and Richard Wright, and began to question the church's commitment to civil rights.
The nail in the coffin of my vocation was in the spring of 1968 when Dr. King was assassinated. And I was going back into the dorm, to my dormitory.
Oh, he said, okay.
Someone said in front of me when we heard that Dr. King had been assassinated, he said, well, that's good. I hope the SOB dies. And that was it. That was the end of...
Oh, because you see how fucked up he is? He's saying he was in seminary and somebody said something racist, and so that made him go, fuck this, I'm out of here. That's one guy. You're so very fragile, Clarence. Your convictions are so very thin, aren't they? And he's so damaged, and everybody and like a leaf in the wind, depending on what somebody says. There's somebody, I mean, he's really unfit to be on the court. You're that thin-skinned? You have no convictions? Obviously you don't. Because somebody said something racist? Of course you're going to hear that, especially in that time. But if you have a conviction, you want to be in the seminary, you're going to just bounce because some asshole says something that is racist. Why didn't you stand up to him in the moment and say that's not what what we're here just learning about Jesus, we're gonna be priests. Is that what Jesus would do? And he's out of here. Oh, because one guy said, I hope the SOB dies. And then in here, he says that his Yale, I'm only fast forwarding because I only have a minute, and because he says that his degree of, he couldn't get a job after he graduated from Yale because of affirmative action, he says. And that means, affirmative action is bad because his degree wasn't worth anything. But no, it has nothing to do with the society you live in. It's affirmative action. It's the remedy that we're trying to rectify the racist society. He's a very confused man. Guys, we will win. Thank you for hanging out tonight. I wish I had more time, because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. If you can give a donation at PayPal, and link in the description. We stick together, we win. I'll see you soon. Wow. I wanted to start that whole Clarence Thomas thing earlier. Oh my God. What time is it? Maybe I'll do a little extra here. Only because... Hey, let me play one more thing. With Uncle Clarence.
And I was upset at probably the submissiveness of blacks at putting up with bigotry. And this was the era when you had the Black Power movement, and that was enticing. It was liberating. And you sort of get...
Wait, I was trying to find... I shouldn't have grabbed this whole thing.
Painted. So I just leave it in the basement.
Thomas finally found a $10,000 a year job in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Oh, wait, here
book
it is.
that your Yale degree was worth 15 cents.
Well, Steve, I have still a 15-cent sticker
What a son of
on
a
the
bitch.
frame that my law degree's in. It's tainted, so I just leave it in the basement.
Thomas finally found
You see how sick he is? You see that? He's a very small man, like the rest of them. It's tainted because because others said, you got this because of affirmative action. And affirmative action was the policy that it was a good intentioned policy, and it should still be in place, frankly. But it only went halfway because at the time, the notion was black people and white people need to get to know each other more, and that will be the remedy for racism. But upon further review and empirical evidence, it's not just that we get to know each other. It's more of a systemic issue as well, where we're talking about the changing of laws and such as, property laws, tax laws, things, like funding our schools with property taxes instead of the general fund, a policy still in place. These are racist laws that keep us divided, and we know this. So removing the remedy for, or one of the attempts, and there's nothing wrong with affirmative action. It's just one of the policies that help us effective or actively try to change our racist ass country and make a more perfect union. And Clarence Thomas, because some racist people say, oh, you got your degree because of affirmative action, regardless of the truth, that means that degree is tainted. Not the people. The people aren't tainted. It's the remedy is tainted. So how are you going to change the people, Clarence? It'll be like Justice Roberts said. Just stop being racist, because that's what he said. The remedy for racism is to stop being racist. Okay, How do you do that when there's no attempt to do it? Because we've tried it your way, Clarence. And I'm sorry, Clarence, you don't live in the world you want to live in. And you'd rather stamp your feet and pull the ladder up behind you like a baby. Because that's what he did. Because at every turn, Clarence Thomas got where he is because he's black. You know? Like the job that he got, I saw this whole thing on Rachel Maddow because they're saying the job that he got, and it's not that he's not, up to the job, but his job at the law firm said, well, we need to hire a black person, so you're it. But it's not like he's not qualified. It's not like they're hiring any schmo. They're hiring, and what's wrong with that? They wouldn't have hired a black person otherwise. So, okay. It's not like you don't have the brains. You did it. You got your degree. You went to school. You passed. You know what I mean? Am I out off somewhere here? This is... I mean, you understand that we are all subjected to the manias of these very damaged people. And it's not working. The world that we're living in with these right wingers is a very very damaged place because they can't function any way else. They'd much rather, inflict their manias on us than look at themselves. All Clarence Thomas has to do is get help, go to a shrink, but he would never, because it's the Republican way. It's our problem. It's like Brian Kilmeade said, is your son gonna get another career? Is he going to pull another career out of his ass? It's the same mentality. It's not our fault. It's you. It's everybody else. And the scam, everything about Clarence Thomas is a scam as far as his faux rage is real, but he's a fraud. He sexually harassed Anita Hill and many other women, but he went up there and he pounded the table like Justice I Like Beer, and went off on how it was a high-tech lynching because he's proud and he's eager to glom on to civil rights or to his race when it's convenient, because it wasn't a high-tech lynching. It was an actual assessment on a man whether he's fit to sit in a lifetime position lording over the rest of us. So it wasn't a high-tech lynching. But he's okay with using his race in that circumstance. But this is what Republicans do. They like to mimic the actual governance, actual legitimate things, legitimate concerns. And they use it and they turn it on its head. And that's the truth right there. That's what he did. He's so offended when anyone sees his race and gives him consideration in a time when the country was incredible. I mean, we're in the middle of, I don't know, when did Jim Crow end? Exactly. It didn't, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't like, oh, today is the end of Jim Crow. Where's Booty, by the way? She's running around. When Crow. Yes, 1968. Such laws remained in force until 1968. Okay. When did Clarence Thomas go to Yale? He went to law school in 71 and graduated in 74. So, okay. There you go. It's putting it into context. And, yeah. He wasn't high-tech lynched. That's what pisses me off, you know? Because this is what they do. They exploit our causes, you know, to make a more perfect union. It's like, no, honey, you're being assessed for this lifetime position, and you've been accused credibly by multiple women of sexually harassing them, which makes you unfit for a lifetime position on the bench. So don't conveniently fall back on your race when you're so adamant about how it denigrates you, how it diminishes you. Why don't you stand up like a man and take responsibility for your behavior and your actions? Right? Stand up as an adult. You don't want to be seen for the color of your skin? Just stand up and say, I did it. We know we did it. We know that's what he did. But okay, because who would accuse him otherwise? Why? Why would Anita Hill and all those other women that had similar tales, why would they make it up? What's in it for them besides being harassed constantly by right-wingers, being vilified and dragged through the mud? And there he goes. Oh, well, now it's a high-tech lynching. When we're, but don't ever look at the color of my skin, except now, and give me that job I want so much, even though it's not paying me. It doesn't pay shit. It's not worth it. That's the thing that got me annoyed too. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the pay. But he's, where is it? Oh, Clarence. Just resign.
We are new this morning learning new details about Clarence Thomas's, the Supreme Court justice, his life off the Supreme Court bench. This morning, ProPublica broke a new report detailing lavish vacations, private jet trips, and VIP treatment at sporting events, all funded by several billionaire friends. Let's bring in our colleague Tom Foreman to explain. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. You know, public support in the polls for the Supreme Court has really been dropping. Faith in the court. People just are not convinced that it's operating the way it ought to, and this report will not help.
The most complete accounting yet of the high life of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas shows much, much more than previously known. More private jets, more fancy vacations, more sporting events, all gifts from mega-rich businessmen and documented through public and private records, plus interviews by ProPublica.
Justice Thomas has been living a life of extreme luxury for 30 years, underwritten by at least 4 different ultra-wealthy benefactors.
Earlier reports have revealed lavish gifts to Thomas, including a house for his mother and this 9-day vacation in Indonesia from conservative billionaire Harlan Crow.
I've come from regular stock.
Who also underwrote a film about Thomas's humble taste.
I prefer the RV parks.
Now the list of benefactors includes 3 more names, according to ProPublica: David Sokol, Wayne Huizenga, and Tony Novelli. The report says the four moguls collectively treated Thomas to 38 destination vacations, including a previously unreported voyage on a yacht around the Bahamas,
Incredible.
26 private jet flights, plus an additional 8 by helicopter, a dozen VIP passes
Regular
to
stuff.
professional and college sporting
In the
events,
parking lot.
2 stays at luxury resorts in Florida and Jamaica, and 1 standing invitation to an uber-exclusive golf club. The dollar value likely in the millions, little of which appeared in required financial disclosures, according to ProPublica. Thomas has previously said he didn't feel the need to disclose some gifts.
Incredible.
And that worries Jeremy Fogel, an expert on judicial ethics and a former judge.
I simply couldn't have done this. And even if the people involved didn't have interest before the court, it's just the idea that you are receiving gifts of this magnitude.
Associate justices make about $285,000 a year. In 2001, when they made about $100,000 less, Thomas spoke up.
The job is not worth doing for what they pay. It's not worth doing for the grief, but it is worth doing for the principle.
Now he
how
bristles at
benevolent.
questions about his principles. He calls Crow merely a friend.
Just
Crow
a
says they
friend
never
who
talk
pays
about
for
Thomas's
everything.
work. And the new report found none
And I
of these
mean,
wealthy pals
by everything, I
seem to
mean
have
a
had
house.
cases before the court. Still,
Each one of these new benefactors, just like Harlan Crow, came into his life after he was appointed to the Supreme Court. That's why it's so problematic from an ethics standpoint.
Jesus Christ. Yes, I'm sure they're not friends with Uncle Clarence because he's a scintillating conversationalist, like me. All right, guys, listen. We got more to talk about, but we'll do it next time. It's disgusting. They're disgusting. If you can, become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Anybody who knows anything about AI or something, if you have any ideas of if there are any good tools that you're aware of that can help make clips out of the show, because I have to post clips. That's how it's done. I see that's what everybody else does. And you just got to post like shorter clips. I'll take this show and make some shorter clips. I got to make shorter clips. Boudica. Where the fuck? Come here, honey. Buddha. Booty boo. Great. She's playing with what are you playing with over there? A lighter. For my my Butzadon altar. Come on. All right, booty boos. Let's get together again during the week, hopefully. If I do have to say I have to juggle a lot coming up, so it might be touch and go, but I hope to do a show during the week because I love you all. And if you can, please give the show a good review on iTunes. Remember to like and share, all that stuff. Invite your friends. This is our Friday get-together, and I can't do it without you. I love you all. I really, really do. Yes, everything is a cat toy to a kitten. That is the truth. Booty is so good. Such a good girl. She really is. She's such a goodie. All right, they're all good. Remember, we will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I can't do it without you. I love you all. And I will see you very soon.